It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. We're live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State, also live on YouTube and on Facebook, having the crucial conversations that Erie needs right here in the heart of Erie's Renaissance. And we're glad to welcome back for our monthly meeting the mayor of the city of Erie, Daria Devlin. Good to see you, Mayor.
Good to see you, Joel. Can't believe it's been a month already, but here we are.
I tell you what, it's one of your favorite hours
of
the
favorites.
month.
Love it.
And we want to welcome in Hunter Lytle, joining the mayor here, special events coordinator for the mayor's office of community affairs in the city of Erie. Hunter, good to see you again, sir.
Thank you very much, Joel. I appreciate it.
You're also the executive director of CAFE, which is Cultures, Arts, Festivals, and Events of Erie.
Correct, yes.
Are you like the jester of the court of Daria Devlin? Yeah.
Well, really what we did, and we talked on this briefly when I was here last time, though,
Yeah.
and in a way, the city, when we started doing the 250 plans, was bring everyone together.
Sure.
And work with them on all their events and kind of bring all those partners and sponsors and everything. So, in a way, yeah, we are, bringing everyone to...
Absolutely.
He's the director of fun.
The director of fun. Somebody has to be.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, no one
Right.
will.
Yep.
So, all right. I can't believe it, but literally a week from Friday is July 3rd,
Yeah.
and big stuff. Even today, there's an event, happening on State Street. But kind of talk us through, Hunter, if you would, about the festivities, what people need to be aware of, and so on.
Sure. So we'll start with July 3rd. And, of course, that's the city's big firework evening. But we also have added for 250 two parts to that event now. So we have Erie Events concert at Rebich Investments Amphitheater, which is Buck Cherry and the Marshall Tucker Band.
Wow. That's a big name from the 80s.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And we're really excited to have them. And we're really thankful to Erie Events and Todd Rebich for bringing them in. And that is a ticketed event. You can buy tickets for that at Erie Events on their website. And then the other part is our normal fireworks show, which is anything but normal this year. Thanks to Rebich Investments, we were able to extend the fireworks 5 to 7 minutes longer than we've had in the past. And we also have added more fireworks into the show itself. And then we also have the great partnership with iHeartMedia, once again, who's going to be running the simulcast with the music during the fireworks show.
That's on Star 104?
That would be on Star 104,
Gotcha.
Yes, correct.
Yep.
So we're really excited about all of that. The biggest things for July 3rd to take away is our map that we've done, and that is now out in the public. That's on our website and on all of our socials as well. So we're really encouraging people to arrive early and to park on State, use the garages. All of those will be free. The garage on 8th and French, the garage on 7th and Peach, and the parking garage on 5th and Peach as well. So all that will be free parking access, plus the streets. The meters will not be in operation, so you can park, wherever you'd like. And then we've got 2 pickup locations in Perry Square, one in West Perry Square and one in East Perry Square. And those will take you down Holland, and that'll take you down Front Street. And we've got 3 drop-off locations for people. So we have one on Front and State, and that's if you just want to kind of go to Dobbins and see the fireworks. We have another one at the front of the convention center over that pavilion they have there. That's kind of if you want to walk around and kind of see both sides. And then our last stop is also at Rebich Investments. So that'll be for if you want to go to the concert. These are going to take people there and also bring people back. We also have the Lincoln Park and Ride, which will be going to Rebich Investments Amphitheater as well.
What time should people be thinking? Because I think you've been saying, Mayor, that arrive early, prepare for obstructions.
Arrive early, and let's be really clear about this. We will be closing down Front Street between Holland and Sassafras beginning at 6 o'clock. Right, Hunter?
Yes.
6 o'clock. So not only arrive early, but if you arrive after 6, you will not be able to drive. We're not going to allow motor vehicle traffic on Front Street between Holland and Sass beginning at 6 until after the fireworks have dispersed. So we're doing that so that the buses will be able to drive freely. So we really want to encourage use of the buses from the pickup locations that Hunter mentioned. That will allow the buses to keep running their loop. They won't get stuck in traffic, and that's going to be the best way for people to get on and off of Dobbins and get down there for the fireworks and the concert.
And what I will say in terms of coming, I mean, the Bayfront's beautiful. There's a lot of restaurants down there. The waterfront's great. There's a lot going on. So I would encourage people to come down and have dinner and enjoy the surroundings for what's going to be a beautiful evening, and then stick around and watch the fireworks. So the concerts between 5 and 6, I would arrive at the concert, and then down at Dobbins, anytime, Really, anytime. I mean, there's lots to do down there. The Star 104 will be down there doing live music down at Dobbins. So I would encourage
Are we bringing
everyone-
our own chairs? I mean, is this a camp chair scenario?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Down at Liberty Park, for sure.
Yeah.
And I want to say this, and Hunter's right, we want to be really clear that the Bayfront is not closed. So we are closing that section of Front Street, but the Bayfront is not closed. And we do want people to come down and, visit the restaurants and the businesses down there and make sure that, you can get down there on foot. You can either walk down, cross at Holland or cross at Sass, or you can, get down on the buses or come early, as we've noted. But yeah, the restaurants are not closed. So please come down and support them. We don't want anyone to think that that's the case.
And then I think it's also important to note that we do have our normal viewing areas as well. If you don't, if you don't typically go down to Dobbins Landing, or if you're not going to the concert, the Bluffs are also open to watch the fireworks. Presque Isle State Park is also open to watch the fireworks. So there's plenty of opportunities to watch fireworks. But we really are encouraging everyone that would like to come down to Dobbins to don't be afraid. I mean, it's going to be a great evening. We've worked very hard on the plan to make it as effective and as easy for people to access the areas as possible.
And we'll have a lot of police support. So we've talked about motorcycle cops will be positioned to help people cross the street there, at Holland and at Sass, and traffic control. So we're doing everything we can to make it a smooth and fun evening for everyone.
It sounds amazing. Yeah. I remember a lot of folks that live in the frontier area that might go to foot of Lincoln or along that area to watch the fireworks here. And it's special that you were able to get some extra programming coming out of July 3rd.
Well, I think that was
right?
the biggest thing when we took this role over, was that we really knew with America 250 this year we wanted it to be bigger and better than it has before. And we actually found ourselves in a unique position with America 250 for just the branding of the event. This year is very much, this is what we're doing this year. So going forward, obviously next year we'll have a different name and a different. Well, everything will be kind of different next year. So this is kind of a one-off.
Sure.
But it's a really special one-off because we're celebrating 250. We have the Marshall Tucker Band and that entertainment as well. We have the additional fireworks. So for as much as it's going on, it's a really special evening that we've been able to put together.
Now, and I know this is not your event, which is 8 Greats, but are we talking similar approaches as we get deeper into the summer, Hunter? Like, how's that all working? So
I can't speak for in terms of if 8 Greats is going to kind of follow what we're doing.
Right.
8 Greats had the construction last year as well.
Oh, okay.
So that part is kind of done over there. The west part of the
that's true.
West Bayfront connector.
So you could park at the hub or
Correct.
or
Correct.
what is Hoffman Hub or whatever,
Yeah.
and do it that way.
Yeah. But I do want to talk too. So July 3rd, we've covered it. It's going to be great, but we have bookends there as well. So July 2nd, the Niagara's coming home.
Right.
So we have a parade of sail in the bay as the Niagara comes back. That's not an event that the city is running, but I want to certainly be aware and support that. It's going to be a great thing to welcome the Niagara back. Yeah. And then on July 4th, another special event this year is we worked with the Philharmonic to do a live concert in Bayview Park. That was something we wanted to do, something special, extra, as Hunter noted. What a special year. And so we came up with this partnership with the Philharmonic. They've been great to work with. And so that's an added event this year. What time does that start, Hunter?
So that's going to start at 11 o'clock. We have activities planned. So Bayview Park has a lot of amenities, which is great.
Yeah, sure.
So they have the splash pad and the baseball park.
It's supposed to be hot next week.
Yeah, which is going to be great.
Yeah,
that's this is great summer festivals here, so we're excited for hopefully good weather.
Sure.
But they have a lot of stuff at Bayview Park, so we're going to utilize all of that. We have a lot of activities planned for kids if they want to come down, families, and then the concert itself. We have a local opener, Josh Travis. He's an acoustic player. He's going to open at 1 o'clock, and then the fill is going to start around 2:30, and that'll go till 4.
That sounds fantastic.
And that's all free. Bring your, like you said, bring your chairs, and just a nice family event on the 4th of July.
Very, very cool. It's interesting. I mean, I'm thinking about Bayview. Not a ton of parking. You're going to really want to kind of come in from the neighborhood, as it were.
Yeah. So we are thankful. We are thankful to the Erie County Health Department, who has allowed us to use their parking lot for
Okay.
the event, and also the church across the street from Bayview has also allowed us
terrific.
that. There's free parking on that street as well. So it's gonna. We imagine we actually have it in Bayview, so that way it was central for people to be able to get to. We had looked at a lot of different locations, and we felt this was the best location for everyone in the city, whether you had a car or you had a bus or you had to walk, was able to get there.
Pretty cool that we're still using those band shells. You know,
Yeah, the bandwagons.
I mean, the bandwagons. I remember them as a kid.
They're old. Yeah.
You know, yeah, that
They work
tells you
fine.
all.
They work. Though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, we have 2 of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we actually utilize them throughout the county as well.
Yeah.
So Waterford and all those other places
You'll see them show up.
Yeah.
Pretty remarkable when you think about bringing high caliber performers like the Erie Phil to that neighborhood park. That's really cool.
Yeah, we wanted something extra and different. We talked a lot about that, and it is a special year, and I think it's America's birthday. We want to celebrate it as much as we can here in the city of Erie.
Everything going okay with like your fountains and your pools and stuff? No algae.
No,
Just joke.
cute.
It's a
It's
joke.
cute, Joel. It's cute.
It's a joke.
Yeah, we're doing clear water here, so we feel pretty good about that.
Actually, when we had that hot spell, a lot of kids were at the one in Perry Square.
It's a great the part in the fountain in Perry Square is great, and the addition of the mini
kind of spouts.
Geysers there.
The
Yeah.
geysers,
Yeah.
yeah.
that was a really great addition.
Well,
to
it
that.
turned it into a splash pad.
did,
kind of
yeah,
thing,
for sure.
Which around here, that's a good one. Definitely. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. The mayor and Hunter are with us. 4:18. It's Talk Erie. Let's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. Mayor Daria Devlin is with us here. And Mayor, we heard on the news at the top of the hour that you have that draft proposal on the outside Erie, the parks plan.
Yep. Yeah, and when before the break we were talking about splash pads.
Yes.
And you asked me about pools. We only have the one pool in the city of Erie now at Roger Young Park. It's the only one that the city operates. And what I really am grateful to our planning department, they spent a year working on this parks plan with lots of community engagement. And it's a really strong plan that gives us kind of a direction. It's weighed racial equity. It's weighed racial justice, environmental justice, kind of all these things about our community, how many parks we have, what amenities we have, and it's given us a really nice roadmap for investment. Now, of course, we know the city is struggling financially, so we're going to have to use those dollars wisely, but we do have some ARP funds left over, and this is important. It's an important part of the health of our community, so really hope people look at that draft. It's on our website, and they can provide public comment now. It's going to be open for, I think, 30 days.
See, I grew up during the time period where they had those wading pools in a lot of the parks.
Yeah.
I mean, they were not very pleasant because they were concrete, and so you could really skin your knee.
But it was something.
And you could keep cool. And again, something from the last century.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, I took a walk out at Roger Young Park a couple weeks ago. I was out there for a cleanup, and shame on me that I had never really walked around there.
Yeah.
The pool is beautiful, I will say, but the park needs a lot of love. And so it really drove home for me, we need to do better. These are spaces for our young people. It's spaces for our older people to get outside and be healthy. And so my team right now is focusing on Roger Young. We want to do some work out there, but throughout the city, we need to do better. And that plan is going to help us. So we encourage people to take a look and give us their thoughts.
Have you ever encountered, when you're traveling, some of these municipalities and these sports complexes that they have, which is golf and tennis and
it's called out in the plan. It's called out in the plan that Erie has no indoor sports facility. And when you think about our climate, I mean, of course we have our YMCAs and we're grateful for them, but it's membership based and there's only so many of them. And so that was called out in the plan that this is really a need. I don't know how we do it, but those are things we have to really be thinking about as we move the city forward.
Yeah, it would almost need a reset on how we divide up funds that would go toward Parks and Rec.
Correct, but it's important. So
sure. Okay, so you, what do people need to do to respond to
it's
the
on
plan?
our website. You can review it, and then there's an opportunity for to provide the public comment.
You've been getting a lot of public comment lately. So even today, starts in about 6 minutes, is the event. Thank you for being here instead of and blowing those people up.
I'll be there later.
I know. I know. Thanks for being here, though, to talk about our Bayfront. And I heard a little chatter in my circles about, well, why are they listening to people that don't know anything about economic development?
Yeah. So let me be really clear about this. The One Bayfront plan, the consultants that we've hired for this, and I want to be clear, the city did not, these are not taxpayer dollars. This was privately funded. We got some support from our partners in the community to help pay for this. But the consultant, they do many things. They're doing an economic analysis. They're doing a market analysis. So there's data. And then they're providing an opportunity for community and public engagement. So this isn't just, let's get people in a room and see what they want.
Right.
But it is saying, let's listen to the community and understand their hopes, dreams, concerns, and let's overlay that with what a market analysis tells us about how we can use this land. And in my opinion, that's the best of both worlds. And so I'm really excited. And I've heard the chatter too, Joel, but I've sat through city council meetings 4 and 5 hours of public comment. The public wants to be heard. And so what I've really implored is please use this opportunity to express to us what you want to see or what you don't want to see. I've heard aquarium, I've heard Ferris wheel, I've heard, we want
You must
launches.
be listening to the show.
Yes, launches for kayaks. Okay, this is the chance. Let's all sit down. I've heard 1812 Museum. I've heard, let's all sit down and talk about this and then give it to the experts to put it together in a way that makes sense.
That's for sure. The thing that, and again, I don't mean to be negative at all, but the thing that happens is that we will have blast out that you're having this meeting today and other opportunities. There's a whole survey online. But then when the plan comes out, people will say, "I didn't know anything about this."
Yeah,
You know,
well,
it's like,
but I will say, and we talked about our parks plan a minute ago.
Yeah.
I was so impressed with how our planning team did that. So they didn't just put out a survey. They went out and met people where they were. And we're really going to work hard to do that this summer. So tonight is an open house, but it is not the last opportunity. We're going to be at 8 Great Tuesdays. We're going to be at Celebrate Erie. We're going to be at events around the community so that hopefully we're not just asking people to come to us, because honestly, that's not really fair all the time.
Yeah.
We're going to be coming to them and getting their input as well. So look, of course, there will be complaints,
Sure.
but I think the approach we're taking here is one that will be the best we can.
Can I follow up on some leftover business, maybe from the previous administration? There were some folks working on the Buffalo Road plan.
Yes.
You know, Gary Horton, I remember, was heading that one. Obviously, Mayor Schember had a huge deal on 12th Street and what we want 12th Street to be. How do we make sure that those are informing decisions?
Yeah, well, so I'll talk about the Buffalo Road plan. And, you know, kudos to the folks in those neighborhoods, certainly Gary Horton, but others, Sister Michelle Schreck and others who have really led the charge. And I would say, you know, a lot of the Buffalo Road plan right now is centered around the Burton School project, which I'm very much in favor of and trying to work with Gary Horton on, trying to talk to the community college about maybe locating there. So that can really be an anchor. And when my experience, like when I did the ECAP project, when you do an anchor building, you tend to start to see development around it. So I think the Burton School project, along with some city investment in Roger Young, which I've committed to, I think we can see that moving. But the city can't drive all of that, right? We can help with the planning, we can support it, but then it does require that kind of the residents and those involved are leading it. And I think that's what's happening on Buffalo Road. On 12th Street, with the 12th Street plan, that work is actually driving a lot of the Safe Streets dollars that we've received from the state. It's driving a lot of the, you know, these improvements, these don't happen overnight. I mean, 12th Street is a state road, so it requires PennDOT involvement. But a lot of that has been taken into consideration and plans are being made to implement. It's just a little slower, I think, than we'd like.
All righty. We're talking to the mayor. Daria Devlin is with us here. And when we come back, I want to kind of, you know, let's talk about these community engagement ideas and talk about economic development because honestly, there, I asked you last month about whether council is anti-development, and you said absolutely not. Well, let's make sure because since you've been here, we've had a successful vote on the Market House and. But with more drama that needed to be. We'll talk to the mayor in just a second. Thanks so much. Stay with us. It's Talk Erie. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here. It's our monthly meeting with the mayor, Daria Devlin, and she is with us here. And Mayor, just 4 minutes ago, the open house for
One
Bayfront
Yes.
is happening down at the Intermodal. Can people get there? Is there good parking?
And in fact, it started at 4:30, but it's happening in 1 hour chunks. So it will be reset at 5:30 and again at 6:30.
Oh, okay.
So people can, if you couldn't get there at 4:30, don't despair.
So it's presentations?
There's a presentation and an activity. So there's a short presentation at the beginning to say kind of like, here's what this is, here's what it's not, here's how you can get engaged. There's an opportunity to take the survey, and then there's like an interactive activity where there's boards and people can react to them. And I want to be really clear, this is the first step. This is an iterative process. So come talk to us about this, and then we'll come back in a couple months and show you, did we hear you right? Here's what we're hearing. We think we hear, and presenting again. So we go through a couple of iterations before. What we want to avoid is a plan being developed and then the public being asked what they think. We want the public to be involved as we go. So yeah, lots of opportunity tonight to get down there and participate.
And this really kind of is where, if you do some traveling, if you go to Buffalo to Canal Side, or I remember years ago being on the Riverwalk in New Orleans, very cool.
Yes.
Heck, I've heard that that the river and the lake side of even Ashtabula is well formed.
Cleveland, by the way, is doing this. There's a lot of work in Cleveland right now about their waterfront development. I think that airport that's down there on their
lakefront.
They're getting rid of that, and so there's a huge opportunity now. So Cleveland, Buffalo, Toronto. I have also heard, I've not been, but a lot of the Great Lakes sites like in Wisconsin and Michigan. So there's a lot here that I think, and for me too, Joel, this is our identity. I mean, when you think about a picture of Erie, what do you think about? I mean, that's the picture. And so what is that identity, and what do we want it to reflect about us? And how does it generate taxes? I'm not going to lie. Got to be part of the conversation for me. How does it generate taxes? How does it get us to our goals? How does it create economic development and jobs? And how does it create public access to the water, which has been a hallmark of living in Erie?
Do you remember the Emerge 2040 process?
Yeah.
There seemed to be significant work on the Bayfront. Now, again, that is 10 years plus.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if there's any data, because the thing about that one is it was supposed to be a 40-year plan.
Right.
And it was hugely paid for by HUD. I want to say it was $2-3 million.
I don't recall, but I will tell you that the consultants that we're using on this, there's a little bit of a joke, like Erie's got a lot of plans. And so they did tell us, we are not starting from scratch. We will review. So they've reviewed every plan that's been on the shelf, and they'll at least start there with that data.
Yeah. Buki famously said,
lots of
this
plans.
This is the biggest neglected opportunity he's ever seen.
But
again, he was kind of harsh with it.
Yes, but if you think about it, so the Scott Enterprises, they have like a multi-phase plan for the land that they own. And no one's saying they can't do that, but we're saying, of course, they own the land. They can do what they want. But let's talk about how that fits with whatever the Port Authority has in mind, with what Erie Events has in mind, and then what's left, and what can we kind of talk about as a community. Someone emailed me today and said, well, I don't even like that there's development happening down there. Well, I mean, I think that's an inevitability. I'm not sure we can stop development down there.
Yeah.
So now let's do it in a way that at least people feel heard. And that's the point.
I think that's a good segue for me to ask you about your economic development strategy. You kind of reorganized City Hall. Can you just kind of give us the high points?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're still reorganizing, so I'm not going to tell you we have a whole, strategy laid out. I mean, I'm, spent a lot of time today actually talking to the county executive about shipbuilding. There's a lot of discussion, there. And so she and I are working very closely with some stakeholders around those possibilities. And for me, when I think about shipbuilding, I think about it as a continuum, right? So on one end of the continuum, we have a shipyard being built in Erie. Okay, that's one end. On the other end of the continuum, it's about building capacity in businesses that either exist or could come here that are part of the supply chain for shipbuilding. So I've heard a lot recently about Erie Forge and the work that they do, right? So making sure that our existing businesses can grow and plug in and get, have more jobs and do, be a bigger part of this economy. So I think there's lots of opportunity there. And she has really led the way on this, the county executive, and I'm grateful to her and really glad to stand with her as we look at this. So I think there's a lot to do first with the existing businesses we have in Erie. This is like my number one priority. And then small businesses, of course, and new businesses. And we are reorganizing some of our funds. The city we had our flagship fund. We have revolving loan funds. We're trying to kind of get our arms around those. What's been promised, what's in the pipeline, so that we can kind of reboot it. And I would say we'll probably do that sometime in the third or fourth quarter of this year.
Talk for our listeners. Let's not bury the lead on that. You have a scenario at Erie. What is it? Erie Forge.
Erie Forge. Mm-hmm.
That they're one of just a handful of people that make the drive shafts.
Correct.
For major shipping boats.
Yeah, and they obviously do a unique piece in that supply chain. But we have many of these very unique businesses in Erie that are very successful. And I think we need to be looking at those first to understand. And as I do my tours, I was out at Smith Provisions a number of months ago to say, what do you need? Do you need more land? Do you need more workers? How is this working for you? As mayor of Erie, that's my job, is to make sure that our businesses here have what they need and we're supporting them, whatever that means, talent, land, permitting, however I can. And then, to the extent possible, putting out dollars for business attraction and small business development. That's my strategy, really, in a nutshell. And again, we'll be working on some details, particularly with the loan funds over the next few months.
Well, that kind of keys in again with your background in the education side of things, about the workforce. Yeah. And again, I don't think it could be said too strongly that the mayor's office and the city has to work with the school district, has to work with the county, with the community college, all of these assets to be able to grow and retain workers.
Absolutely. And, my relationship with the Erie's Public Schools superintendent, I ran on this. We're meeting monthly. One of the things we did, as you know, this summer is we, talked about it being a summer of reading. We're encouraging reading and all of the programs that are receiving funding from the city of Erie. Myself this week, every day from noon to 12:30, I've been reading at the neighborhood art house to kids with Hooked on Books, just to show that everybody needs to be a part of this. And you might look at that and say, well, what value is there in reading to 8-year-olds? Well, literacy is the foundational skill for everything that comes after. And so I think as a community, we need to focus on that and think about how those things build into the workforce that we need. And we need to be aligned on all of that.
We're talking about the whole continuum of shipbuilding. What are some of the you're saying that for a small business that city of Erie will be a friend?
We have to be. And that's a number of different ways. And, again, I tour Smith's and say to the owners there, to the Webbers, what is your struggle? Where are you hitting things? And they'll tell me, well, for example, we had a homelessness problem behind one of our plants. How can you help us with that? Okay, let's talk about that. When I went out, when I go out to tour the Grow Erie project that Gary Horton has going on with Curtsy, and you see that urban farming that they're doing out there, what do you need? And I said to the owner, out there, do you need land? Do you need permits? Do you need workforce? What's the missing piece? And I think, again, as mayor, it's my job to support that. And I am committed to that. And I think when you ask, are we business friendly, that is the way we grow what we have.
Yeah.
And then we also, of course, make it better and easier for new companies to come to Erie. But, for now, I really am focused on really growing the strong companies we have in Erie right now.
There's rumbling over some of the State Street projects,
Yes.
and things. Do you think that people understand when you have a California investor dropping significant coin in your town? That is a rare thing. And that's like hasn't happened in 20 years kind of thing in Erie, PA, maybe 30.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we appreciate the investment, and I do want to address the State Street issue. I understand, and there's an article this week about the Tap House and John Melody, and excuse me, I've been in touch with John, and I am incredibly sympathetic. I mean, I feel for these business owners. I absolutely do, and it has been one disruption after another for them. I do believe we're like the light at the end of the tunnel here. I mean, I've met with PennDOT. They're saying State Street's going to be open in the fall, September, October. State Street's going to be open at least. So that will really help. We're doing this streetscaping while it's disrupted already. The last piece of the puzzle is next spring, we're going to repave State Street. And that will kind of be the final piece to connect State Street to the new Bayfront connector, all new paved. We're going to kind of rework some of the traffic, the lanes here and the lights, but that will really be it. And so I guess my plea to our business owners downtown is just stay with us a little longer. And we need to do better about minimizing disruption, but I think we're almost there. And I think what we're going to have on the other end is really going to be great for the downtown.
All right. I always hesitate, but it always comes to housing at some point with you,
Sure.
with you, Mayor, because we do have that housing crisis.
Yes.
And something new has come up. My wife and I were just kind of happening to drive over 11th Street.
Okay.
Near, kind of on the way to Select Specialty. We weren't going in, but I'm looking to the south, and I'm like, what are all these empty lots? And
Have you talked to Andre Horton about that?
Have
you heard
not.
Andre's points about that?
No. Can you clue me in?
I mean, all I know, Joel, is what I have heard from Councilman Horton. And what he has said is, that was kind of urban redevelopment in the 70s when that was all housing and it was all knocked down to become, I don't know what.
Like parking?
Like
for,
parking. I
for
really,
the plants? Okay.
I don't know. But I mean, if I would encourage you the next time you speak to Councilor Horton,
Sure.
He has a very compelling story about that. And his point is a lot of the poverty we have in this town comes from the fact that that was all home ownership over there and it was all taken away.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but again, I've heard that, and it does make sense because when you look at that land, you're like, where did all the houses go? How did this all happen?
Right.
And I think that there was an effort there for whatever reason that all those homes were knocked down.
Well, and I'm thinking about the concept of, you got Ironworks Square going up. You've got what American Tinning. I mean, there's some active quality. Obviously, what Cathedral Prep did, right? Along the 12th Street corridor, and that could lend itself to making that space more valuable. And you need more single-family homes.
I sure do.
And I just, again, I don't want to sound like I'm Pollyanna or naive, but somehow the Baldwins did it post-war when my parents came to this town.
Yeah.
And we were able to have little homes. It doesn't have to break the bank.
Well, something that I've seen
build
that I'm
houses.
encouraged by, Don Crenshaw.
Yes.
He just announced last week, and I was there, up on, I think it's 26th and Downing. These are modular homes. And I mean, I stood there and watched them the one day they were swinging them around with a crane. I mean, they're literally plopping homes down. It's incredible. And it is cheaper. And Don's doing it. And I think that we do need to look more closely at modular building in the city of Erie.
We don't have any zoning
We do not.
we
do not.
restrictions.
No, we
Okay.
do not. And I mean, we are working on zoning to make sure we're housing friendly, but no, there's nothing against modular there. And so we are looking at that certainly. And another area of town we're looking at, particularly is like 21st and German. There was, in that central city area, there was a plan many, many, many years ago, I think under the Filippi administration, for more single family housing up there, and never came to fruition. And so honestly, we've kind of pulled that off the shelf to say, what could we do in these areas? The city owns a lot of that land. It's redevelopment authority owned.
Okay.
So maybe modular housing. But you're right. I mean, we need more single family homes. And I think we have to take a hard look at modular.
Wow, that's remarkable. And again, I think as we have those coming up and getting purchased,
Yes.
then you start seeing some movement on
Absolutely.
on your population decline.
Absolutely. And it takes everything, and it goes back to the schools too. And you know me, I'm not Pollyanna about that.
Yeah.
We understand that's part of the conversation, but more tax dollars does make a difference. And I think we have to start talking about what it means to live in the city of Erie, what's attractive to live in the city of Erie, offering home ownership at an affordable price so that people can actually access that piece of the American dream. You know, you talk about your family, like, what was it? You bought a home and you owned a home, and that has been denied to so many of our residents that we have to find a way, because that's what creates wealth for the city, and it creates wealth for our families too.
Yeah, well, and again, yeah, I hear these stories. I was talking to a housing expert today about, unfortunately, too many people that live in the city of Erie can't get the credit to buy a mortgage. So they're paying much more for rent than I'm paying on my mortgage.
Absolutely. And that's where we work with partners like Erie's Black Wall Street and the St. Martin Center, these organizations that really, we have great partners. We just have to bring all of this together. And I think that's where we're moving right now as a community. But you're absolutely right. In many cases, a mortgage would be a much better financial decision if they had the credit.
Yeah. All right. So, what are you going to be focusing on? Are you just going to be celebrating
all of these things?
All of July?
Look, we wish America a happy birthday, of course, and I'm so honored to be in office during this special time. We have these celebrations, but Joel, we have budget issues, we have housing issues, we have economic development issues. We have a lot of work to do. And I'll tell you what, City Hall's busy this summer. I'm busy this summer. We have a lot to focus on, and we're really hard at work. I want people to know that.
When are we planning to hear back from PFM?
I talked to them today. They're telling me probably within the next month to 6 weeks, we should have some recommendations from them.
Okay. And they've done their management.
They were here last week. They were in person for the management conversations. They're following up by phone with a couple of our bureau chiefs because they needed to go a little deeper. So they tell me they're going to be feeding me things as they come down. So, hopefully we'll have a menu, and that's what they're telling me. It will be a menu. They'll be able to say, here's what you could do and here's what it's worth. Mm-hmm. And then we can look that together as a community and make these decisions.
Just a couple of dangling participles. Council passed the first reading on the rental inspections,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Now I think they're going to start really deliberating on stuff. What would you like them to do?
I met with the landlords actually yesterday to talk about that. We had some good conversation. I'm going to go back to council on July 1st and talk with them a little about maybe some changes, some tweaks. We want to work with the landlords, not against them, but we are recommending to council that we bring this rental inspection program in-house. And on July 1st, I'm going to tell them that's what we intend to do, because we need to give 90-day notification to BIU. So we're moving on that, working with the landlords to make sure that the checklist, everything is in concert, but that's a decision we're going to bring in-house, and I think that's going to be a benefit to our residents.
Do we have a metric of how many either quality of life ticketing or zoning infractions will be passed out in June, do you think?
I don't have the numbers on me. I do know we're monitoring weekly what citations we're issuing, and we're watching those very closely now. A lot of high grass right now, so I would ask people to cut their grass if they can. But next time I come, I'll bring those numbers with me and we can talk about it.
How are we doing? We haven't even talked about public safety today. How are we having a safe summer? I haven't heard anything about shots fired being elevated or anything.
I mean, look, I don't want to jinx us, but things have been good. Obviously we have a full complement of the police. We have heard some things about Dobbins Landing. There's some concern down there on the weekends. So that is something the chief and I went to a meeting last week to talk about slowing traffic down there, towing cars if they're parked illegally, and enforcing noise ordinances and also curfews down at Dobbins. So we're going to have dedicated units on the weekends through the 4th of July and probably after, and it'll be zero tolerance down there for bad behavior. We have to. We need to protect the businesses down there.
As a mom, what would you say to other parents that their kids are acting up, whether it is on Dobbins or in the neighborhoods?
I mean, if your kid's under 18 and it's 2:00 in the morning, they should not be out. That's just it. You're asking for trouble. My mother would have said that too. What are you getting into at that time of night? So look, times are different. I understand. Just know where your kids are and make sure you're giving them healthy opportunities to do things with their friends. We get it. Kids want to be kids, but nothing good is coming at 2 a.m. if you're under 18. What are you doing out there?
If a child is out there they're violating the summer curfew. What are the consequences?
It's not just a summer curfew, it's an all year long curfew.
Okay.
I think people forget about that. But, you know, what the consequences are, they're going to be asked to go home. We could take additional steps. Obviously, our police are busy, so they don't have a ton of time. But I've been out with them. I was out on third shift ride along last Saturday, and we stopped a couple of kids and said, "Where are you supposed to be?" And they were like, "Well, our house is right here. We'll get there." So the cops are absolutely stopping and moving kids along to get them home. They have to be home after, I think it's 10 o'clock, if they're under 18.
Yeah. Well, Mayor, thanks for enforcing life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Thank you, Joel. Thanks for all you do. And a month will go by and I'll be back again.
I appreciate it here. Mayor Daria Devlin here on the Joel Natale Show. Stay with us.